Good afternoon, actually. You can see I don't have my coffee because it's afternoon. I have been a little bit late getting started on this video because I can't get... well, I've been working on the video I made yesterday. And, well, the computer is having difficulty keeping up with the editing software. But I'm working on it. It's pretty warm out there. I've actually got some new tools that I'm going to be trying out for the video today, so... Today's video is going to be a bit of an experiment. I've got a GoPro camera that I just got with a bunch of little, well, stuff. We'll see how it goes. I've never used a GoPro before, so... But I think it'll probably work out better than an SLR on a stick or something like that walking around trying to make videos. There's also some very disturbing news coming out. I heard the UK Prime Minister is in the ICU, and you're probably saying, well, that's news from outside of China. Well, for me, that's very bad news inside China, because if the Prime Minister of the UK doesn't make it, already I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some kind of retaliation. I mentioned in the video yesterday that there's going to be a reckoning. Well, if he dies and he doesn't make it, then you can bet it's going to be a significantly worse retaliation than what it otherwise would have been, and all the more certain that it's actually going to happen. If they determine that this virus did indeed escape from a biolab, and that the Chinese government has known about what this was from the very beginning, and they allowed this to happen, I don't know, that could almost be seen as an act of war. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think it'll come to that. Certainly there'll be sanctions, probably. But that is a possibility in that case. I mean, the toll that this is having on other countries is devastating. It's going to get bad. But the main thing, I'm not so worried about... I mean, of course, I care about what happens here in China. But as a foreigner in China, if those kinds of things start to happen, then, well, all of the hate and anger over it will be directed at people like me. So... Again, I'm looking at getting out of here when I can, not because I've made a life in this place, and I've watched over the last couple of months as it's just crumbled around me. It's really unfortunate. It's a lot of years wasted, but, well, worse things could happen, especially if I just stick around and let people decide that I'm the enemy and to take out their anger on me. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Well, let's give this thing a try. Oh, I almost forgot my headphones, for heaven's sake. Oh, got it. That was a close call. Oh, I wonder how this thing is going to work out. Never having used a GoPro before. Boy, people will be looking at me. I'm going to try and avoid people, actually, because I really don't want to mix up with anybody. I'm going somewhere where I know there's not usually a lot of people walking around. Lots of people out doing stuff. Almost nobody wearing masks. Yeah, everybody's getting back to normal. But like I said, they're putting their guard down. There's actually cities going on lockdown as we speak. Kind of crazy. Hey, don't forget, don't gather in groups of more than 10 people. And make sure that you keep 2 meters or 6 feet between you and the other person, because there might be a contagion going around. People don't seem to be following that around here. Of course, according to the news, the official message is that the virus has been eradicated here, so there's really nothing to worry about at all. Don't worry about it. Oh my, the insanity of it all. So here in the next few days, they're actually going to be opening up Wuhan, the epicenter of the virus. That means flights, trains, everything. They're saying, of course, as I've been mentioning in every single video for the last few days, the virus has pretty much been eradicated in China. They're still saying there's 0 deaths, very few new cases. Besides the other day, I guess they just want us to forget about over 1,000 new cases that are asymptomatic. They're back down to like 30 or something like that, I think it was when I was watching the news today. So you don't have to worry, except that you do, because some cities just went on lockdown. That's right. The virus has been eradicated. There's no new cases, really, no deaths. But it is necessary to put certain cities in total lockdown. I think that sounds like something that something's not adding up. And I believe it's just like I said. They have said that the virus is eradicated, so people have let their guard down, and now it's spreading again. I hope not. Again, I really hope not, because this place has already been through enough already. So another interesting bit of information, according to the Business Insider, the UK government believes that the coronavirus actually came from the biolabs around Wuhan. It's no longer just the mainstream media saying that, maybe it's time to start asking questions. There are certain governments that actually believe that is the case. Now, with the Prime Minister being in the intensive care unit, I've been thinking about that quite a bit. What the reaction is going to be, whether he lives or dies, I think it's going to be pretty harsh. If they already believe that this escaped from the biolabs out there, and well, now all of this damage has happened, and of course we know that China covered it up all along. That would mean they've been covering up even more, because it would mean they knew where this came from the beginning. Well, I don't imagine their reaction is going to be just shrugging their shoulders and saying, oh well, we forgive you. Even though now tens of thousands of our citizens are dead, our economy has been severely damaged. I think that there is going to be some significant, well, I keep mentioning it, they're not going to be happy. Nobody's going to be happy. Already everybody's quite upset over this virus situation. But this is going to give them ammunition, so... my goodness, it's not going to be good here for foreigners when that happens. Now for the fun experience of crossing the street. There's no sort of light, and as I mentioned in another video, pedestrians do not have the right-of-way in China, so nobody's going to be stopping for me. I just have to try and find my way across. Oh, here's a gap coming up. I'm going to start making my way across. Ah, look at that. Stoplight back there saved me. At least on this side. As you can see, I still have to be concerned about this side. Ah, I'm never going to make it over there. I'll have to wait. Too many cars coming. Yeah, I probably should have crossed with the right back there. Now I'm just stuck in the middle of the road. Okay, now I can start making my way across. Lane by lane. Slowly. Hopefully the scooter guy doesn't run me over. That'd be nice. He's not even supposed to be on the main part of the road. Hey, look at that, we made it. Kind of. See, here come the scooters. And they come from both directions. Safely across. So yeah, this whole situation with the UK Prime Minister, this isn't going to end well. This is really not going to end well. Again, thank goodness I'm already looking at moving to some other place. And not because China's bad. Well, okay, let me think of how to phrase that. Not because China's like I think it's going to completely fall apart, economically speaking, which it might. But just because, well, I think that nationalist feelings are probably going to take over most people's emotions and their brains. And as soon as they see a foreigner, no matter where I'm from, I'm going to be the enemy. And so, who knows what could happen. Well, here we go on the beginning of the bridge here. I can only go so far. They've actually, well, I don't know, maybe something's changed since then, but before the lockdown all started, this bridge, you could go about halfway, and then it was closed pretty much to pedestrian traffic. Maybe something's changed since then. I'm not sure why they had it closed. They weren't doing construction. The bridge has been here a while. But we'll go up as far as we can, have a look. Well, I've made it onto the bridge, as you can see. I wanted to point out a couple of things since I'm over here. This section over here is actually called the New Economic Zone of the city. It's where all of the, well, almost all of the new development is. And part of that is actually on this side of the river, this building behind me here. It looks very nice, doesn't it? It's actually just a shell. The inside is completely empty. And will probably remain empty for quite some time, as will a lot of the development on the other side in the new economic zone, or whatever you want to call it. Really unfortunate. That really started with the trade war, and now the coronavirus shutdowns have certainly not helped with that. I don't expect that it's going to turn out as a very good investment for whoever decided to build over there. Not for a long time. Probably too long for them to survive financially anyway. There's a lot of barge traffic on the river still, which is amazing. Yeah, empty barges, they go that way, and barges with some, that one had rolled up steel, not the one that's over there, but the one that went under the bridge. It's loaded up with steel, heading off the other direction. I'm not sure what they plan on doing with that. Maybe the government has some program to keep construction going, to try and help the economy, who knows. But, yeah, all part of the canal system that they've got here. 4,000 years old, remember, they told me that. And like I said, maybe it is, I don't know. There's not a lot of information on Western websites about that sort of thing. If you look up the city, there's really very little information about it. But I'll take them. I mean, they would know better than me. They went to school here, so I'm sure they learned something about the local history. Oh, well, I had probably better start heading back toward the house, because the sun is going to start setting here before long. Yeah, maybe it'll mask my my western features and people won't freak out as much. I don't think it would help. But yeah, I better start on my way back. I'm going to find myself out here after dark. My wife will be going crazy. What happened to her? No, I can just message her on the phone. Yeah, I really wish that things would go back to normal. But every day, seem to just get more and more bad news. Where does it ever end? I really don't know. I'm still really just having trouble grasping how this thing has blown up as it has. I can still remember, you know, it wasn't that long ago. We were stuck there in that little village. And now, it's everywhere. I just can't believe this. I thought for sure, you know, a month or whatever, they'd have it all taken care of and it wouldn't really be widespread. I thought the world was seeing what was going on and taking proper precautions. I don't think there were ever, in reality, any precautions that could have been taken. The virus, by the time the rest of the world knew about it, had already spread out of China. It had probably been in Italy from the very beginning. People from Wuhan, for those of you that don't know, is a major travel hub. So anyone traveling by train or something like that from different parts of China, they most likely will travel through Wuhan. They might even switch trains there. So anyone traveling to Europe, they may have had a stop in Wuhan. It's a city of, I don't know, 11 million normally. That's a lot of people. So it's no surprise that it would have hit Italy so hard. Italy being a very popular tourist destination for Chinese people. And it's not because Chinese people are bad and trying to spread the virus, it's just, who doesn't like to go there, right? Well, right now, nobody wants to go there, but yeah, that's a popular tourist place. And Chinese people love to go there. In either case, I imagine that the virus was already there long before the rest of the world even knew it existed. And that's why it hit Italy so hard. And then, of course, its proximity to Spain would explain that. It's very easy to get to Spain from from there, France. And then once it's into the EU, there's nothing to really stop it from spreading everywhere. And from the United States, of course, again, the tourist thing. Tourists, they go from New York and everywhere else to northern Italy, to Rome and different places. So it's really no surprise. It's just unfortunate, but I really thought, you know, it would be over. We'd be locked down for whatever period of time. They'd open up the stuff, tear down the makeshift walls, and life would go back to normal. But instead, it's just been escalating and escalating. Until finally in China, now they think that the virus is eradicated, and of course, we all know that's not necessarily the case. Even if it was at any point, it's probably found its way back, especially now they're opening up Wuhan, you know. Who knows what's going to happen. The whole situation is just, it's unfortunate. I'm sure there's a lot of people's lives that have been, well, we know there's a lot of people whose lives have been destroyed over this. That reminds me of another story I wanted to bring up. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the situation where they were going to open up Wuhan to some of its neighboring areas. There's a bridge that crosses out of Wuhan. And there were stories in the news of Wuhan residents basically rioting and fighting with police and flipping police cars. There's another element to the story that you may not have heard. It wasn't just residents of Wuhan, it was the police. There were police officers from Wuhan fighting with the police from the neighboring area over opening the bridge. It's literally police fighting against police, as well as civilians, all of them fighting. This, now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, okay, I could see it, but this is China. It's just crazy to me to think of a city, two different cities having different views and actually fighting each other. And people from, so it's like province, you never know what's going to be happening. According to the national rules, there are not supposed to be any lockdowns right now. And as you know, there are lockdowns. There are entire cities that have just recently put themselves into full lockdown. When we were stuck in lockdown ourselves, the national government said on several occasions all the roads were supposed to be opened up, and well, that was not uniformly followed. In fact, a lot of local people defied the national government and kept the roads closed. This is another example of that. The national government says, open up the city. And of course, the local people have been stuck there for a long time. They're ready to get out. So they go onto the road, and in defiance of the national government, the neighboring province and cities, they don't allow them to cross into their area. So authorities are fighting authorities. It's just chaos. So there's this image of social order, but just beneath, it's just boiling. People are angry, they're upset, and it's just waiting to boil over. And of course, they would rather have all of that anger pointed at different people who are not Chinese, like myself, than they would at themselves. So I imagine if it really comes down to it, not only are the people going to be having bad feelings toward, but I think that the government could actually direct those bad feelings toward foreigners. If it really came down to it, it would become us or them, essentially. Yeah, there's some serious chaos going on in certain places. Fortunately, well, I've experienced some of it, but you know what I mean. Now, I say that I don't know what's going to happen. I know I say that all the time. I don't know. But I think that the writing is on the wall. The economy is already in shambles. It was before this happened. Now with this coronavirus and the shutdowns and everything, there are a lot of small businesses that have already gone under. People are afraid, even if you see them out doing stupid things. They're still nervous about going to eat in restaurants, especially in a lot of other places. The rest of the world is shut down, so exports are gone. The factories have opened back up, but they're laying off. That's not a real thing here. They've basically dismissed a lot of their workers, and the rest of them they've told to take pay cuts. In the meantime, there are still no orders coming in. The rest of the world, of course, is very angry about the virus situation, and they want blood, and I'm sure that a month stuck in their homes is not going to change their mind. I think it's pretty clear where things are going from here. It's not going to end well for China. And so with that final analysis, I think it's probably time to end the video. I've probably got more than enough footage. My wife always tells me to keep these things limited to a certain amount, or else people are going to get bored hearing me talk. So, in keeping with that, I guess I will end it here, and we'll see you guys in the next one.